What's up everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Adrian and in this video I want to talk about how to read MBA employment reports as part of your MBA due diligence and help you make sense of it. When it comes to business school research, MBA employment reports are one of the best sources with plenty of relevant information to form yourself an opinion about that school's placement success and what sort of companies are actually recruiting from that business school. Since most MBA students do an MBA to find better job opportunities, employment reports are a must-read for every MBA applicant. First of all, if you are new to my channel, I highly encourage you to hit the subscribe button to be updated on new MBA-related content. And on your way down there, kindly leave a like for the almighty YouTube algorithm. So, MBA employment reports follow a somewhat standardized structure. Typically, they start with a summary from a Career Services Center representative, usually the director or sometimes even the dean. This summary will give you a brief overview of the recruitment, the industries students end up with, which companies recruit heavily, and so on. You will also read about current hiring trends and how that changed to previous years in this section. And finally, the summary will mention achievements of the business school related to recruiting, for example, whether new recruiters are on board. Personally, I wouldn't focus too much on the summary as every business school only gives you the highlights in an overly positive fashion. What's more important are the facts, and this will be covered in subsequent sections. So the next couple of sections are in no particular order. Every business school has them sorted differently, but I would say that every leading business school, or at least most of them, cover them all in some ways. Some of them are more detailed, some of the information is more condensed, but you will find the information anyway. Let's start with demographics. This section contains a profile snapshot, or a class profile as it is usually called, of the graduating class. You will find relevant information about the class size, average age and work experience, percentage of women and international students, and so on. Some reports also provide the geographic spread of the pre-MBA class, their pre-MBA industry, and past education. This section will inform you about where the graduation class stood and how you compare to them. Then you will find information about how students found their MBA full-time jobs. This section tells about the channels students used for their MBA job search. One of the first piece of info is how many students looked for jobs and how many didn't. Normally around 90% or more look for new jobs. Schools generally like students who come into the program as sponsored students because they know that they will go back to their employer after the MBA and will not hurt the rankings if they don't find a job soon after graduation. Although some of these sponsored students will look for new jobs secretly. If you wish to become an entrepreneur while at business school, you must look closely at this data to know how many students started their own business while in business school. From my experience, the number is super small because MBA education is very expensive and students will leave business school with huge amounts of loans that make starting a business immediately after an MBA almost unfeasible. Data by industry comprises a list or a graphic of the industries where graduates got their post-MBA jobs and also highlights the salaries. Low salary, high salary, average and median salary per industry. As a prospective applicant, you should closely observe these numbers to determine whether your target industry is represented. I recommend to also check past reports to understand trends over the years. For example, technology recruitments have consistently increased at business schools, whereas consulting recruitments stay more or less static. And investment banking recruiting has been going down for the past years. If you wish to recruit for the technology industry, then an upward spike in the figures will give you more reason to apply. A wider representation of different industries shows diversity in the class. It also depicts that career services have a robust network with a range of industries. Certain industries, such as the financial services, are vast and jobs vary highly. Thus, data is further broken down into subcategories such as investment banking, hedge funds, investment management, wealth management, sales and trading, private equity, venture capital, and so on and so forth. For applicants vying these jobs, this is a more relevant data point and they should compare these figures with other target programs to get the real picture. The next category in the MBA employment reports is the time by which students found jobs. This data is published for at the time of graduation and 3 months after graduation. As a prospective applicant, you would want to ensure that graduates are getting recruited at the earliest. If you are an international student, pay attention to the data for international graduates. The next section provides a breakup of jobs attained by industry, function, and geography. This is the real meaty information. The most prevalent reason for doing an MBA is a career change. An MBA helps students change their careers by changing either industry or functions or geography or 2 or more of these dimensions. While European MBA programs publish this information as well, most American programs don't. Data by function. This section of the MBA Employment Reports provides a function-wise breakup of jobs and salaries. This data will be particularly useful to you if your job search is driven by the function, say operations, marketing, strategy, or general management, to name a few. This section is also relevant if you are interested in joining a rotational or a leadership development program. You can see whether a business school gets companies for such roles. Similarly, many applicants are interested in internal consulting or strategy, and this is the section where you will find the data about it. I said it in one of my other videos, and I iterate, hiring takes place locally. With Harvard Business School, Stanford, or maybe INSEAD, you can work pretty much anywhere. The hiring company basis at these schools is very international. The geography part of the MBA Employment Report will tell you where graduates normally end up. For US programs, recruitments are mostly limited to the US, and normally more than 90% of the class stays in the US. Interestingly, the data published by American MBAs captures different regions in the US, such as the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, etc. However, the data for international placements is split per continent. Most leading business schools will provide a list of the hiring companies, whether on campus or off campus, and many business schools share the number of graduates that were hired by each company. So if you are targeting specific companies after your MBA, this is an important data point in your business school research. Now, a few things can be misleading here. Just because a company like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley is hiring from that business school doesn't necessarily mean that they're hiring for front office roles, which would be for the investment banking division. They might as well hire for mid or back office roles, and you would end up working in corporate governance or marketing. The same goes for tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon. If you don't know the exact roles for which they hired from that school, don't just assume those roles were product manager jobs. So be aware of that, because these names will be dropped for every hired student, even though they might have been hired for different positions than the ones you are targeting. Every business school has a dedicated career services team that works hard to form and maintain relationships with potential and existing recruiters. Hence, consistently finding one company in employment reports year after year tells about the relationship career services has nurtured with that company. Also, a company will repeatedly recruit from a business school only if they get good quality applicants. A lot of business schools provide employment reports from past years, and it gives you a good indication on hiring trends. Generally, employment reports highly depend on the information provided by students themselves. The school doesn't make up those numbers, since it doesn't know for which role you were hired and what salary you will be receiving. There has been some criticism in the past that the figures for salaries have been inflated and adjusted upwards. Don't let this encourage you. Salaries for management consulting, investment banking, healthcare, and tech are pretty much standardized. Roles in tech with crazy salaries of $500,000 and up can happen, but this will be for graduates who have already worked as a software engineer and they're going back to the same function. I've also heard from students reporting crazy high salaries when they joined their family businesses. So once again, this can be true, but it might not be the norm. No matter your stage in the research process, MBA employment reports are probably one of the most important parameters used for evaluating business schools, because they will help you make your experience tailored to your needs. It's the employment statistics that will educate you about the real outcome of your MBA education, which is the job. Don't overlook this while selecting business schools. So you now know how to read and interpret these reports. As you can see, employment reports allow you to make informed decisions about which business schools will help you meet your personal career objectives. Therefore, make the best use of them and apply to the programs best suited for your needs. However, keep in mind, the less detailed these reports are, the more you should take them with a grain of salt. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. Smash the like button if you found this video valuable. I encourage you to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. My name is Adrian. Stay safe and see you next time.